Well, tonight it's alright, but that's not letting me do horizontal. So the orientation is locked. Try again. No. That way. No. You're gonna have to suffer, mate. Right, I'm just waiting for Tomo. Oh, here we go. He's on his way in. Hey! Yeah,
You,
I did try. It won't let me. It says it has to be
it's all right. I'm trying to
horizontal.
get my hair to look halfway normal, and I can't seem to do it. So
That's why I've
you'll
got a
have
hat
to
on.
bear
Always
with.
got to have a hat.
Yeah, look at this. I just did the fanned it, and then it just got stuck like this. So, anyways, I feel honored that I'm considered a special guest, but I know that that's that's not supposed to be what it is. But what can you do?
Yeah, well, it was supposed to be. Try to get my. How do I get my chat up? Can't see it in my chat. Anyway, yeah. So it was supposed to be some guy. What was it? Martial Arts UK.
Yeah.
He's had to reschedule. I'm a bit surprised by him, to be honest, like because he seems like fairly normal in terms of like the Chinese martial arts community, which isn't saying a lot, to be fair. But this guy has trained in MMA. He's done a bit of Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Yet every time I post something, he's always kind of like, "But what about? But what about? But what about?" Recently, it was if you want to challenge people, why don't you go to Chen Village in China? And it's like because I don't have a problem with the people of the Chen Village in China. They do push and hand stuff. They have a Sanda team. You know they
Yeah.
have fighters. Like why am I going to have a problem with what they do? As far as I've seen, they don't push people. And then it was all kind of but unless you've been to China, you can't have learnt real kung fu. And it's like
That's
yeah, and so are you saying your students haven't learnt real kung fu then? Like it's
like, how does that work then?
yeah. Yeah, you have to go to
How,
China to learn real kung fu. How long do you have to stay for? Like, there's stuff that I don't like. Yeah, there's stuff I don't like um, this the whole cultural appropriation stuff. We talked about this before, you know, like little buttoned up tops and stuff. I really don't like all that sort of rubbish. But kung fu is
moment.
kung fu. Ooh, he's off.
I actually
You got
have it
your
this time. I've got it with me this time. I'm gonna do this just for
hey,
you.
got his toggles.
Let's
Hey,
go.
Chris.
Now I can pretend that I'm a no-touch Woo master. Let me just do the buttons.
Yeah,
Uh,
I used to have one of those tops. Like when I was a teenager, I loved it all, you know. And I'd sit at home and I'd make my super noodles and eat them with chopsticks, and I'd pretend to be like
I already feel
Chinese.
so stupid. Do it for the stream. Do it for the views. Let's go. Oh, Alan,
Love
this
it.
is gonna get you to 1,000 subscribers. Trust me.
Well, we've got one viewer so far. That's Chris.
Chris, what up?
Who's awesome. Chris.
There you
Chris
go.
Pooh Bear.
I'm not gonna do this. I don't want to feel like a pastor because people might not know.
Jackie Chan.
Yeah. There we go. That's as far as I'll go.
As far as those suits, like that's actually a pretty good one. Actually, the ones I really don't like are like the sort of satin,
Silky, right?
silky, like you know, that are
Know what's
gonna
cool
rip.
about this one? It's got rips because I actually fucking fight with it. I
Yeah,
actually, I mean, it's not supposed to be for that, but it's like a if I forget my gi and we want to do gi grappling, I just use this one.
yeah.
Made for a few cool videos with it, so yeah. Anyways,
Yeah, well,
do
basically, just
yes, yes, you do.
do we have to have a beard? Yeah. If you don't have a beard, you're not getting on, mate.
Now I completed my Kung Fu master image. There we go.
Yeah, so yeah, like I said, the whole cultural appropriation thing, because I think a lot of these Wu masters start to talk like this, and I will talk about my song and
Right.
mention little Liao. Just
And
drop.
it's like bad Bruce Lee accent.
Yeah,
The worst thing.
it end up sounding like David Carradine in Kung Fu. A really offensive, like mock Chinese accent, and it's like this. I am a monk. I got thrown out of a Taoist group.
Oh, holy shit!
Yeah, yeah, and it's like, tell me you don't know anything about Taoism without telling me you don't know anything about Taoism. Like, it's all like, no, you can't do this and you can't do that. And you're like, well, where in any Taoist text does it say I'm not allowed to fight? Where does it say in any Taoist text that I'm not allowed to be? And you get it like there's yin yang in Tai Chi,
Mhm.
extreme, ultimate. And there's a Tai Chi guy saying, how can you do Tai Chi and use external? And you're like, how can you do Tai Chi and not do external? Yeah. And
It's oh my
to be
god.
fair to him, he kind of admitted, he said like, oh yeah. I guess so.
That's that has to be a point, because like so far in this type of discourse with like traditional guys, it's always pointed deductions. Like 1 point
Yeah.
for Gryffindor once at least. So, god damn.
And the other thing I've been suffering is this whole, like where I had that challenge accepted and then he turned it down.
Yeah,
I've
Clive.
had people, yeah, I've had a lot of people that supposedly know him and that saying, well, why don't you just go and train with him? Like, why would I?
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, you don't know unless you go. No, I do know. I know that he can't do it. That's why
Yeah.
he won't let me film it. You can't do it because it's impossible.
And if you disagree with Alan, let him film it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Oh my
I've had lots of people say that, oh, I didn't believe it until he pushed me. And then I'm like, well, so can you do it on me? Oh, no, no, no. I can't do it as good as Clark. So he's a rubbish teacher then.
You know what's that's always the best argument. And you know what pisses me off, at least in my comment sections on like Misner videos, it's like there's at least 3 or 4 different people and different videos that say, but it's not evidential, it's experiential. First of all, that's a totally false dichotomy. That
Yeah.
doesn't exist. Everything is both, always at the same time. Like that makes no sense. And the worst thing is, even if you, for instance, somebody personally gets convinced, that bears nothing on other people. Like I could have some specific experience that nobody might believe. That's tough shit. What can I do? Like it's there's ways to convince other people. And if you truly believe in this shit, and you like you said, another snake oil salesman, that's a great comment, because anything else you would be able to provide evidence, no matter how weird or generally not accepted thing it would be. You would be able to present some kind of evidence that could sway other people. But if you can't, it's tough shit, dude. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, even if it was real, you would still have to convince other people.
Yeah, we've got a comment here. I had the same thing with Dan Harden. Who's Dan Harden? Do I know Dan Harden?
I don't.
Is he a member of the Virgin Project? Because I feel like he must be. But yeah, there's a lot of people they talk big online and in these forums, and then when you actually say, "All right, let's do it," they sort of. The other thing I got someone saying, "You're a young man challenging an old guy, like that's unfair." It's like, but
But it's not a
what?
fight.
Yeah,
It's not even sparring. It's not. It's
yeah,
You will be completely cooperative, just to see if he can make you jump or
yeah,
fall, because you're not gonna hop
yeah.
by
That's the
his
bit I
level.
really want to see is like this whole, but you have to jump. because if you don't jump, you fall over. I'm like, but where do you see that? Where do you see that in judo? Where do you see that in wrestling? And somebody sent me a video saying, this guy's hopping. It's like, yeah, because he's got one leg off the floor.
Yeah,
Like, if you
like
go in for a
Infinite
single,
Sonata. Right.
I'm going to hop, but I'm not going to hop because you push me backwards. That's just not going to happen.
Ah, it's ridiculous. I've already have. Well, we'll keep that for the future in case this summer collabs might happen. But I do have ideas for videos, so we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I might try with Andre. You know, the guy in that video I did the other like last week. Just
What about?
where we push. I'm just going to get them to push me in an upward direction, just to show people how your body reacts. I already know what these cheetah files are going to say, which is
They're going to say
that's
the
because
same
you're not using internal energy. It's like,
because you don't know it. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, but it doesn't matter. Whatever the internal energy is, that's still a force going in. You know, like if I push like that and you push on my arm, my body's going to go like that.
And you know, the thing that Nick did with his fake demonstration on April Fools, that should serve, that's amazing, first and foremost. But that should serve as an example, even if those guys were to say, well, of course it's easy to fake because it's so supreme and magical that like the real internal arts that it looks as if it's fake. Then even if you say that argument, that should like tell you why evidence is so important, why somebody who's skeptical of this, like you, getting convinced is priceless, should
Yeah,
be priceless to you guys. Because if you can have two videos, supposedly one is fake, one is real, and they look exactly the same, like how else will you like up the credibility of it? Convince somebody who's been on the
yeah,
record challenging this bullshit for a long time and is a Tai Chi practitioner. So I can't see how they don't see value. I mean, I can see because it's all bullshit, but
yeah, because they know what will happen. Yeah,
right. But if you
that was
believe that so deeply, you should see the priceless nature of being able to convince people through you, and they
yeah.
don't.
Well, it's what you know. I had people saying like, "Oh, but look at this guy," and it was that Funkahopalipalopagus saying how amazing Lisner was, and it's like, but that's just words. And, oh, I used to be a skeptic. Okay, where are your videos calling him out on his bullshit?
Yeah,
They don't exist. And that was my whole point. You're like, you're saying, oh, you haven't got a big enough following, but yet
right.
you're using this guy who had less of a following as proof.
But
And
it's
it don't
it's
matter how big.
it's oh,
Yeah,
so stupid. And can you
that's it.
imagine the most basic scrutiny of cool story, bro? If your stuff can't survive that scrutiny, like you're doing it wrong. Like
Yeah,
anything that can be chucked up, Fungalokogogogogogopapa saying how good Misner is. Cool story, bro. I used to be a skeptic. Cool story, bro. All of
yeah,
this, if you can just shut it down with that dumb remark, you know you're not doing it right.
yeah,
Like that should be able to survive that basic scrutiny. So
yeah. You've got me, a proven skeptic. All of these videos, like, it doesn't matter what my following is. I could have 2 followers. You could
yes,
use my whole history of being a skeptic, put it on your channel, which has a huge reach, and go, look, this guy has fought full contact. He reckons this is a load of rubbish. He's done Tai Chi for
and he's a type
over a decade. Yeah.
right.
And he's been convinced and he's now a follower.
That would be priceless.
Yeah.
Like it's so dumb. I think my first ever video on Misner was where I mentioned my like enjoyment of like Aikido techniques and this and that, and I often get like skeptical people with it because, of course, it's mostly associated with shitty arts and shitty practices and like bullshito Aikido masters and this and that, and my stuff can survive that scrutiny. And I use that example. Like I'm not mad at people when they say, "Oh, well, this is a load of rubbish." It's my job. All right, then I'll show you this video, that video where I talk
Yeah.
about it, and then they go, oh, "Okay, so it's just a lower percentage technique that's can be used sometimes." Awesome. Like, why is that such a big deal? Well, because
Yeah.
it's bullshit. That's why.
There you go. What about this? Is interesting actually. Thanks for this, because this is something I've wanted to talk about for a while. What about guys who can fight but still buy into this crap? Right, Tomo, you take that away because I've got my own thoughts on it. Let's hear what you've got to say about it.
So I think your challenge, the way you issued it, is perfect because you zoomed in specifically. There was a comment on your video where somebody says, "Well, what about if some guy that does MMA and claims it's kung fu just beats the shit out of you?" Well, that's stupid because it's completely besides the point. You issued a challenge on a specific thing, right? You issued a challenge on the push hands thing, and you need to do this. You need to hop away. So, like, if somebody can fight, sure, I have no problem with that. You're fighting because you know how to fight. We're talking about this specific thing. Show me that specific thing in a vacuum. So, like, that's essentially my thoughts, at least on the challenge aspect of it. But people, no matter what style they are, what walk of life they are, they can be full of shit. Like, knowing how to fight doesn't mean you're right about anything. So
Yeah, but I mean, I think because there's a guy on Misner's channel, and we'll get to Nick in a bit, by the way, in the comments there. But there's a guy on Misner's channel. I can't remember his name now. We had a bit of to and fro, and this guy has actually entered full contact. You know, he's got a couple of Muay Thai fights, a couple of boxing fights, and a couple of those Li Tai. You know, like the Chinese martial art where the full headgear fights. But he's never shown a full fight. It's only little snippets, and he admits himself it was just very like amateurish, like myself, you know, amateur fights, nothing massive. And when you watch his videos though, he you can tell he's like, oh, this stuff's useful, but it's not fighting. And this, you can tell he wants to roll it back. But the problem is, he's on that gravy train. He makes money from HME. He's not going to turn around and say, of course you can't push me with this stupid technique, because then he loses out on all of that seminar money. He loses out on like his teaching, and it just becomes a very, very average fighter if he's not associated with HME, and he gets pushed up as the poster boy of, look, this guy fights. What? Because he had a couple of amateur full contact fights. Don't think so. Now Nick, he's an interesting one because he actually fought in the UFC, and I've recently been in touch with one of his teachers who seemed to be trying to play down Dan Doherty.
Yeah.
He was trying to play down Dan Doherty's part in training him, and this guy, like, I might have a chance of meeting him. I'm hoping I do, and then maybe I can interview him and then get his own opinions on it. But I would like to ask him himself. Maybe he's been hit in the head too many times. Maybe he's trying to get on the gravy train himself. Nick, isn't it Nick, the guy who fought in the UFC? Isn't it him, or am I getting the name mixed up?
I think so.
You mean his teacher? You mean his teacher is? There's a guy, I can't think his name. He is totally spamming the Yang style, the Yang Tai Chi group at the moment. He's every day there's probably 2 or 3 posts of him. He's really pushing himself, and he was like, "No, Nick was my student for years," and I was like, "Well, he was Dan's student." Yeah, which teacher? I can't think. I'm in the car at the moment. I was on my way home and I stopped off at like my favourite place, which is down by the river, and I don't have my iPad, so I can't look it up at the moment because I'm talking on my phone. But I'll post a link in the comments to this video once, or his name in the comments later. But yeah, he's saying that he was Nick's teacher, and like I say, it was Dan Doherty was, and I've got footage of Nick warming up before his fights, doing the full direction, pushing hands from my style and 9 Palace steps. So but yeah, I would love to know why he believes it. Maybe he needs to believe it to validate that maybe he wasted too much time training in Tai Chi when he wanted to be a great MMA fighter. I don't know unless I talk to him. It's yeah, it's yeah, too much talking. There is too much talking, not enough action in the Tai Chi world.
Yeah. But what else are we gonna do now? We can't spar. We can't. Like, okay, let's do a sparring session. Oh, those hits were lagged. They hit me late. Like, what else? Of course, it's a talking stream. We're gonna talk about it because what else can we do now? So
Maybe it means like in the Tai Chi world, there's too much
sure,
talking, which there definitely is too much talking in the Tai Chi world and not enough action.
yeah, and not even fighting, just action. Just
yeah,
reproduce this shit on somebody who we can deem is truly unwilling. Like, give something where we can't dismiss it as if it's just a basic. I think we need to accept the Tai Chi Chuan bigger term.
too big a
Well,
term. Yeah, I think you're kind of right. I
yeah,
think we should start breaking it into Tai Chi. I think if you just want to wave your hands in the park and do some exercise, and that's what I always get. What about people? Not everybody wants to fight. Good. I don't have a problem with that. And in fact, when I see people posting videos online of them doing the form, I'm always very supportive. Love it. Get on with it. It's great for health. Great for like keeping fit. Brilliant. Do it. But if you want to call it a martial art, we need to have the chuan on the end of it. So it's Tai Chi Chuan.
yeah,
And that's what we
yeah. Finish. I don't want to cut you off.
well, yeah, no, just that's that we need to make distinguish between like the exercise and the martial art. And that's what we really need to focus on. And if you want to start saying you're doing a martial art, then you need to start proving it.
Yes, and my whole thing is the whole problem lies in claims that people make. Like we like you and me and Crest probably, I'm guessing, and all these guys that do like kung fu and fight. Like, we can easily separate that as in, oh, you're just doing this as a honest meditational practice, do whatever, and we're doing it as a combative thing. But the problem is, most of the combative side Tai Chi guys or Kung Fu guys are the honest ones. Like, I feel like that there's less honest people on the Woo side, or not the Woo side. There's more Woo people on that side because, like, the problem is whenever you make a specific claim, if you claim that this is a meditational practice, go for it. But as soon as you claim that it's for fighting and it's bullshit, that's going to be a problem. So it's not like separating it by name. I don't think that that's the super necessary thing. It's just be careful what claims you make. Like, be honest about your claims. That's the biggest problem I see. So there's a bunch of comments that I
Oh, Chris did Dan's Wu Dang for about 30 years, and with Nick. Well, did you ever talk to Nick? Like, did he ever like speak to you about why he believes in the Wu side of things, Chris? Did that happen? Because I've searched for videos. I've wanted to find him talking about Wu, but there's nothing online where he talks about it. I've only got secondhand information. That's why I'm really interested in speaking to him myself, like to find out his real opinions on it.
Yeah, that's cool. Oh, I just remembered. I talked to Jamie from Jamie Loves Martial Arts, and he's done a bunch of different martial arts, and he did Tai Chi, and is also doing Shui Jiao, a bunch of different stuff. And we touched upon the whole claim thing, because like he's also into like Kung Fu, into the poetic nature of like the traditions and all that stuff. He loves it, and that's what like draws him in. But you can make a case for like no touch things if you are making like reasonable claims. Like we talked about, like things like feints. Like you can say that that's a no touch technique because you make somebody flinch, but that's in line with reality. That's not something anyone would call no touch, but it is a real thing. Like you yell, somebody gets scared, and then you clip him in the head. That's also a no touch thing that could be called a technique. So it's not black and white. It's about the specific claims. If you claim, oh yeah, no touch is that, perfect. If you claim that it's the Force from Star Wars, then we have a huge problem. So I don't know. It's about saving kung fu, and let's be honest, that's,
Yeah.
that's,
Yeah.
that's so simple.
Physics still applies. Exactly. That was my point earlier. You know, no matter how you're generating your internal force, whether you believe in the woo or not, the force is still this. You know, whichever way you're pushing, that's where the force is going. However you're generating it, whether it's your fascia, whether it's your muscles, whether like everything, it's a bit of all of it. You know, the energy. This is the other thing when people start talking about energy in Tai Chi. For the most part, energy is if I push you forwards, that's energy going into a push. If I strike, that's a different type of energy. It's a focused energy. You know, energy, like my car driving at 40 miles an
Yeah.
hour is energy.
But,
You know, it's
but energy is such a buzzword that's been taken over by woo, not just in martial arts, everywhere. Like energy is like nobody uses that word in the sense of actual physics,
yeah,
in the actual sense of what it truly means. It's like energy.
yeah.
That's what. But it's, come on, it's been taken over by woo. So
Right. Do we need to save Kung Fu? Yes, we do need to save Kung Fu because Kung Fu has become an absolute joke. I think we need to get past style and accept that good training is good training. Eventually, we'll look the same. Well, this is
yeah,
something I was talking about. Well, I started to talk about in a video and I trailed off once. Um,
hmm
and it was part of my saving Kung Fu sort of like series. And it's, you know, if I'm visiting another town with my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gi, I can train at any Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu place and I'll be welcomed. We all know the same techniques. We can get on and do that training. Like, and if we want to save Kung Fu, if we want to, like, it needs to be kind of the same. You know, you need to start just being open and inviting people and learn from them and they can learn from you. And a big part of that is techniques and sparring and because forms are all different in the kung fu world, as we all know. But what can we do? We can push hands. Too much emphasis on push hands, in my opinion, but it's still something we can all do. We can wrestle, we can spar, and until we start opening that up, kung fu is just going to carry on being a bit of a joke.
so here's the thing. Like all these comments, I've said many times, I'm mostly a self-taught fighter, and self-taught in the sense of not like movie shit where I watch stuff and then I learn it. I train with martial artists, but I
Yeah,
don't have like a kung fu is the label that I'm most comfortable with, but I do all kinds of shit. And I do agree, it's all about training methods. Like all these styles end up being just fighting. We've talked about it. Fighting is fighting. It's all gonna end up pretty much the same. I do all kinds
yeah,
of things that could be labeled 50 billion different martial arts. But the thing is, it's even if we drop the element of saving kung fu, it's still the truth that this is fighting. That these arts are fighting arts. Like even if you
yeah.
don't care about the future of kung fu, we're still talking about people that pull shit out of their ass and consider magic as being part of this stuff. So
Mm.
it's like we're still just telling them the truth. So it's the element of should we save kung fu is a separate topic. Like to
Well,
me,
we got lose the term kung fu, but I love kung fu.
me
And
too.
like I say,
That's the thing.
as much as I go on about cultural appropriation and it being a load of nonsense in your little kung fu suit there, like it's I love kung fu. I love when I practice my forms training down by the river. I am absolutely Jet Li in Tai Chi. You know, like I am like Jackie Chan. Like I am every kung fu movie I've ever seen, even down to Karate Kid. All the rest of it. That is me down by the river doing It Man, doing White Man, doing you know I love all that, and I love the term kung fu. I think there's nothing wrong with it. I don't think we have to move past it. I think we just have to try and build up a community of people that actually practice it as a martial art. Though.
The thing for me is kung fu or gong fu or whatever. It just means acquired skill through hard work, and like for me, I'm an artsy fucker. I love. I'm the cringy artsy dude that is all about like poetic shit and stuff like that. Kung fu and all that, like the tradition of fighting arts in China is one of the most potent like places for really colorful, poetic, natured culture and stuff. Like if we just talk about technique named, it's all inspired by nature, animals, this and that, and I absolutely eat that shit up because it's something that I
Yeah,
personally enjoy. So even if we can argue about objectively should we drop the term this and that, there's still people who enjoy this, just like people who enjoy the sort of more Brazilian tradition type things from
yeah. I'm
BJJ.
gonna go and eat some acai, and I'm gonna
Yeah,
like start throwing up the whatever they call the shaka thing, and yeah, the
yeah,
sort of Brazilian cult. Yeah. Um,
because yeah,
but yeah, the magic people have as much right to the term kung fu as fighters. They do. But if you
yeah,
build up a big enough community and you've got enough people like who start showing what real kung fu looks like, and then saying to these people, "Okay, let's get together and you can make it work. Show me." And if there's enough people like shouting this out there, it's it will change things. Like these woo people have taken out because MMA has taken so many like people that actually wanted to fight. Like they've taken them away because let's face it, if you want to be a fighter, you'd be an idiot not to go and do MMA.
take this shit off for a moment.
but but if we want to attract, you don't have to be an MMA fighter. You don't have to really want to go out there and hit. But if you want to be a martial artist, you do have to eventually be punched in the face by someone. How hard and how often is entirely up to you. But to be a proper martial artist, it does need to happen. And there's too many people for too long have wanted to live in this cosplay of I could hurt you by just standing like as if I'm holding a tree for 3 hours a day. It's not going to happen. It's not a movie.
Right, and the thing about the term, but the magic people have as much right to the term kung fu. That's true. Like you can do judo and call it aikido if you want. Like you can have your reason because dictionary definitions aren't authority on words. Like words are usages. Like you can have an esoteric view about something, and sure, nobody can tell you jack shit. But that's not the thing about it, because if we're going to be honest about the historical use of kung fu, it's skill that takes time to learn. It's like something that hard work yields. And if this is magical nonsense, that doesn't take any hard work to do because it's not real. So definitionally, it also isn't kung fu. But that's besides the point, as I said, because words have usages. So it's all semantic bullshit. And if you like kung fu, you should call it kung fu. If you don't, you don't. That's my 2 cents on the
Yeah.
thing. I
Most of the kung fu, like most traditional styles that we have now, aren't even that old.
right.
That they got formalized. You got people that create, and some of them are stuck, some of them have vanished forever. But they all have a common ancestry, obviously. That they're all, as Dan always said, the techniques predated the form. And this, I got into a conversation the other day with someone, and he was trying to lead me. I could see what he was doing straight away. He was trying to lead me into a a trap, but I wasn't falling for it. And he's like, "But if Tai Chi was just like every other martial art, why would you train it in such a strange way?" It's like, but I don't train it in a strange way. But why are you doing these weird things with your body? but I'm not doing weird things with my body. Yeah, but why does the form look a certain way? But the form isn't fighting, and fighting isn't the form. Why do you
Right,
practice so slowly? Well, if you watch modern MMA strength and conditioning, there's plenty of exercises that are done slowly. You know,
right,
it, you're not going to trap me with this. There's no magic. There's no if I do the form like this, I'm automatically just going to be able to spar.
Oof.
Yeah, it's it's utter nonsense. Like Tai Chi is a martial art like any other.
Right,
The way you practice it, there are some um, things that are very unique to Tai Chi. I think the amount of pushing hands training that there is in there, but I don't think that makes it Tai Chi different. I think it just has different aspects to it. It ends up the same. There's so much. There's only so many ways you can strike. There's only so many ways you can deflect. There's only so many ways you can trip people up.
and the that's the whole thing about like labeling martial arts. We can have hours of discussion about how should we label a martial art. By what should we label it? By the technique collection, the syllabus, the practice methods, this and that, and we could actually argue about that for a long time because it's not as simple of a discussion. Like you can do Tomiki Aikido and just like random, like run of the mill Aikido, and it's going to be quite different. Like these will look like two separate martial arts. So it is true that, like training methods and functions, we should focus on things that we know work. But again, we are the ones that choose what we should label it as. So it's not, so choosing to call it Kung Fu isn't doesn't mean that you're making a big deal of the label. You're just using it in the sense that makes the most sense for you, and historically in the sense of it being actual skill that you need to develop with hard work. So like, of course,
I mean,
all
I
methods.
think we have to acknowledge that kung fu does generally mean, for the most part, around the world, Chinese martial arts. When someone says kung fu, most people mean
Right,
Chinese martial arts. And yeah, as I keep saying, if you're going to learn to fight, learn to fight. If you want to wave your arm, if you want to do the wushu sort of
yeah.
stuff, just do the wushu sort of stuff. Like,
Or if you want to
it,
do things that we do, which is know how to fight and train properly, but
yeah,
still
fight.
call it kung fu because it is in line with everything that we know kung fu to be. So it's like, it's really about the claims. Are you just full of shit or not? That's it. It's so simple in the end.
Yeah,
I
we've
think
got.
I cut you off again, so sorry.
Well, no. That's fine. I mean, you're on here to
It
talk,
took
aren't
me, I think, 6 to 7 minutes to take that shitty jacket off. So
you?
we got that on stream.
It's like this is like the world's shittest striptease. Like you are not getting my OnlyFans money with crap stripteasing like
It's my first time. Don't be so
that.
hard.
But no, it's
Kung Fu's
the
gay too, Nick. It's not just BJJ.
so have we got any more questions? Like, white man kung fu will annex your country. I mean, I am very well aware of you know the whole sort of it's Chinese, it's a Chinese martial art, and it's like yeah, but kung fu spread outside of China. Like kung fu has been repressed in China for a long time,
Yep.
and and it makes a lot of these people like you have to go to China to learn kung fu. It's like, but then a lot of those people are the ones going to Thailand to learn with Mizna.
Yeah.
It's like so you're going to Thailand to learn Tai Chi from a white man, yet you're
Yeah.
telling me I have to go to China to learn from a brown person to understand real Tai Chi. It's weird.
It's nonsensical. It's crazy.
Yeah, there was another argument. I wanted to address another argument, but I can't think what it is. I've just finished a 12-hour shift. I did two 16-hour shifts before this, and my brain's a
Woo!
bit. a bit mush. Yeah, I know. And I've got to do another 12-hour shift tomorrow. Love it. But
During COVID, I used to work 12 to 14-hour shifts. That was not fun. So
yeah, well,
good for you.
COVID was like a lot of people look back at COVID like it was a nightmare. I look at COVID like it was a holiday for me because I was working. I didn't stop working, but didn't do any overtime. So it was like the least amount of hours I'd worked in years.
Yeah. So for me, when it started, the beginning portion when the whole lockdown thing started was some of the best time I've had in my life. And even when I never actually told you about this. I worked as a security guard at a like infectology hospital in Croatia, the number one, the main hospital that took all
Right.
the samples, that did all the stuff. And I actually had to Koshiguruma, motherfucker, there. So that's a story that I can tell one day during COVID
Yeah.
time. There was a fight at the Rose of like people, queues waiting to get tested and vaccinated and all that shit. And a fucking fight broke up. So that was fun.
I yeah, look, COVID was what got me back into Tai Chi, and it's funny, like, because again, the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world and the MMA world laughs at kung fu people doing all this hand waving stuff, and yet once COVID happened, you had all of these Jiu-Jitsu guys and MMA guys going train by yourself and doing all these movements, and you're like, hang on, look at these movements. What are you doing? It's like, oh, it's forms training, and yeah, and I got back into Tai Chi because I couldn't train with anyone. Like my daughters didn't want to do anything. Like even though my youngest was really good at jiu-jitsu at one point, she kind of that part of her life's gone now. So I was like, well, I'll do the form, and it really shocked me that I could remember the whole hand form without any prompting whatsoever after like not doing it for like a decade. And then the broadsword form came quite easily. I had to remind myself a couple of times. Straight sword form, cannot remember that at all. But I haven't really tried to. I reckon I could if I sat down and did it a bit. But yeah, it's the importance of forms training. Form training's great if you have no one to train with. If you want to learn how to fight, forms training is the least effective thing you can do. But if you want to learn how to fight, get with somebody else, push hands, wrestle, punch each other in the face. That's
You should. That's a beautiful spot where you've shown a few forms. You should do Tai Chi forms ASMR. You're gonna get 50,000 subscribers in like a week.
yeah.
Just Tai Chi
I,
forms.
well,
Tai-
I've stopped practicing my form as much as I should, and I kind of think I should do like a challenge where I do the form, post it from beginning to end, and then promise myself I'm going to practice every day because I always do that and never do. Promise myself I'm going to do it every day, and then after like I don't know a month, film it again. After like another month, film it again, and then like leave it a few months, and then show it again right at the end, so I can then sort of show the development as it
yeah,
goes.
that'd be cool. I'd watch that.
Yeah.
So I still do at least a portion of Silum Dao almost every day, so that's cool. But I don't go any further than that. I just do bits and bits of the first form in Wing Chun. But it's super fun though. So
I spent a lot of time, like when I was really young, I learned a lot of different kung fu forms. Like I learned some manta stuff, I learned some long fist stuff, learned a lot of different weapons stuff. And then I
I
got
used to do a lot of
really,
crane stuff.
yeah, I got super into Tai Chi, and I was like, I don't need any other forms. I'm just going to master like because in Dan's Wudang system, you had your short form square. I hate that. I never practiced that ever. It's like very. It was apparently it was made. There's a guy who was teaching hundreds of people at a time, and he was
Oof.
on a platform. And what he figured was you can't really show people like the intricacies of the movement. So instead of like doing this kind of movement, you cut into 1, 2, 3,
Ah.
1, 2, 3. You know, like, and it was called the square form. So it's a good teaching tool, but I never do it. I don't see the point in it once you know how to do it round. Then you got the
The
short
flowing
form.
is half of the fun in the
Yeah,
forums.
exactly. I want to look like I'm in an anime, you know. Um,
Yeah,
and the round form, the short form round takes between 2 and 5 minutes, depending on how slowly you do it. And then you have your long form, which takes between sort of like 12, 20 minutes, depending on how you do it. When I used to do the long form with Godfrey, my old teacher, who was Dan's right hand man, it would take about 45 minutes and you would feel like death by the end of it because he would slow it right down. Square is pointless. I agree totally. I think square is pointless. Short form was added late. Yeah, the short form was added because people's attention spans are crap. You know, so who wants to? And I don't have time. I remember this is a story. When I was in like my late teens, I remember there was a guy who'd been learning Tai Chi for like a decade or more at that point. He was in his 30s, and I was like, "Oh, I love practicing long form." And he's like, "Well, I love doing it as well, but I don't get the opportunity to do it very often." I'm like, "If you haven't got half an hour a day, there's something wrong with you." And he didn't try and correct me. He just gave me this look like. And years later, when I had kids of my own, working and like is now, and I don't have any time, I was like, I get what you meant. Yeah, he knew. There's no point in him trying to tell me what was coming. He probably didn't want to upset me if I did know what was coming. But it's like one day you'll know.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was it.
And then you've got saber form. So basically, the way you learn it, Dan's Wudang Tai Chi, you would learn, well, Chen Ting Hung is a Tai Chi system. You would learn square form, round form, then you do saber, you know, the broadsword, Chinese broadsword. Then you would learn the long form. Then you would learn the straight sword. And finally, you would learn spear. And
Ooh.
yeah, spear form. And the Wudang
But it's
spear
not a
form
martial
is,
art.
yeah,
It's
not
not.
martial art. Yeah, yeah. And the Wudang spear form is fucking awesome, and I never learned how to do it, and it's something I deeply regret, and I need to change because
Yeah,
it
like
is
Wing
the
Chun
most
has the
martial looking
pole.
thing you can do. Yeah,
I have no clue about the pole, and that's also part of Wing Chun. So
I think that was Wu Jingquan who came up with the square form. It's all written in the books, isn't it? You're probably right. You probably know a lot more about the history of Wudang Tai Chi than I do. I used to like because Dan wrote a lot of books, and I used to read them constantly, and I used to know all of this stuff. I used to know that it's one of the things I love about Tai Chi that you don't get in other martial arts. There's a lot of theory, you know, a
Wing
lot of
Chun,
theory. Yeah, yeah, but like as in like it's written down sort of theory. It's like
that's true. That's
oh,
much much broader than Tai Chi.
yeah, yeah, and you've got all you know. You have like your 5 elements. You've got like your 8 trigrams. You've got all of this stuff that branches off. And if you want to get, you can get as deeply into it. But again, what trumps all of that is if you want to fight, is to
Yeah,
fight. You know, you can understand all that, and it's great. It's great as an intellectual, but you're still going to get your ass kicked by somebody that spends a hell
well,
of a lot more time sparring.
exactly. And that's the whole thing that also kind of annoys me when it's like whenever I make a video about like some kung fu or any traditional martial art like that, it's like 1 year of Wing Chun versus 1 month of MMA. See who wins. It's like no, no shit. Like it's I don't give a fuck about that. This is what's fun for us about kung fu. It's all that stuff. It's the theory, the culture, the fucking poetic nature of it, and we do the fighting stuff and we enjoy this too. So it's totally a non-argument really. So
Yeah, it was my late teacher Keith Roos. He had because this is before like MMA was a big thing. You got to remember, like, I mean, I started learning in 1994. It was the first UFC 92. I can't remember 93, something like that.
3, I think.
No, no, it was 94 because it's 30 years now, isn't it? We're celebrating the 30 years of the UFC,
I
so it
think
was
it's 3.
94.
I think that was last like 2023 was the 30th. I think maybe I could be wrong.
No, no, because they got the 30th gloves on at the moment, haven't they? Every
Then it's
fight,
4, I guess.
Yeah. So
Which
94. Well, we could safely say it's 30 years. So it wasn't. There wasn't this big. It wasn't well known about anyway. And my teacher used to say, if you took a kickboxer and a kung fu artist, and after a year you put them in a ring together, the kickboxer will kick the kung fu artist's ass. If you leave it 4 years and you train correctly, he was always very emphasize the training correctly. The kung fu guy, and he would say equal people as well.
Mhm.
The kung fu guy will kick the kickboxer's head in, and then he's like, if after 20 years of training you put those two people in together, they will just nullify each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you've gone through all of the nuances and all of it, and you've both ended up in exactly the same point. Your techniques are really, really good.
It's different methodology, really. So,
yeah, spear form is fabulous and the shortest of all forms. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I really need to learn it. Hand form for the mind, saber for the resolve, sword for chi, whatever that means, and the spear is for wisdom. Nigung for jin, so they say. Nigung again, I learned the whole of the yin set. And I can only remember properly the first set of exercises you get taught when you did the Nigung. And I spent quite a bit of money learning the Nigung system as well. And it's not magic. It's a lot of kung fu. It's a lot of hard work. It hurts to do it. And like any exercise, if it hurts, it means it's doing something. And my legs have never shaken. I've done, leg day at the gym. My legs have never shook anything like the first time I ended my Nigung training. And Nigung is hard work. Yeah, absolutely, Rod. Absolutely, 100%. Nigung is hard work. And it's why it works. Where you jumped on? Yes, I was jumped on. Because you do your Nigung, I forget how many days it is. You're not allowed to have sex in all of those days. That's part of the woo-ness of it, I guess. Because the energy, preservation. Because in Chinese sort of
women
culture,
weaken legs.
Women get strength from the sex, whereas men get weakened by it. But so I didn't have someone on the shoulders. What Godfrey did, he pulled a piano over. essential proper traditional kung fu system of getting on top of a piano, and then he jumped on my stomach, and he did it. And you have to do it twice because you don't want the first time to be like a fluke, and it hurt. I'm not going to lie, it hurt. But what Godfrey said was, he said, by the time you stand up, you should be fine. And I was, and that's what Nigung does. It focuses you. You're toughened up from all of these exercises you do. And when someone jumps on you like that, it's going to hurt. Anyone that thinks have someone 2-footed onto your stomach from 5 foot in the air isn't going to hurt. It's talking absolute nonsense. But the thing is, you can get up and you are fine. So if you're in a fight and someone hits you like that, it's the same thing. It's going to hurt, but you're still going to be able to carry on. And because your mind is that focused, your body is that strong from doing the exercises. Nigung, absolutely. If anyone has the chance to learn Nigung, do it.
Awesome. Just power on through.
Yeah.
100%.
It's funny. Well, when we look at MMA fighters, the ones that truly we talked about Tony Ferguson the other day, weren't we? When he truly believed that he was invincible, he was, and it was only when he discovered he wasn't, he kind of crumbled. The mind is the most powerful, and that's what I think. Tai Chi is a good thing. When I fantasize that I am a kung fu master, when I fantasize that I'm in an anime and all the rest of it, like when I was much younger, I wouldn't lose a fight because I believed that I couldn't, Yeah. Right, we've got any other questions?
Yeah, we have 5 people watching, so.
Yeah, let's get your Tai Chi or Kung Fu or just general martial arts questions. Come on. I've got 10 minutes before I've got to be somewhere. Have you got anything you want to talk about, Tomo? I've been talking through most of this.
I'm mostly disappointed because I really hoped that Clive Potter was going to actually fucking do it. I was going to make a fucking statue of him if he did it. regardless of the woo bullshit, because it would have been the first, and of course it fucking didn't happen. And I can't shake the trying so hard to hope that some of these guys might actually answer. So yeah.
And I think a lot of it, like what he was showing, like where he had the guy and he stood like that and he's pushing him with his little finger and the guy's falling back. That is going to happen because if you're bladed, I did this with the toys the other day, don't I? You've got no strength for that, so of course you're going to go back. But you're not going to like stumble and do a little moonwalk
Not
away.
like the 1-inch punch. If you stand like this, of course, I just have to do this. Boop, you'll fall. So,
which one of you would win in a fight? Me, because I'm a big fat bastard.
Absolutely.
Me, because I'm.
There's only one way to find out. Well,
I just sit on
maybe I don't want to commercialize or promote anything, but it seems with time that something close to that might actually happen. So at least
hopefully we get a chance to spar together
we can
and
smell a rolling session at least. So
wow, definitely. I mean, if we roll, I'll fuck you up, Thomas. That's your chance will be in the striking. Like, if we clinch up, you're fucked because I outweigh you. And
look, you submit me probably 50 different times with 50 different submission holds, but you're gonna get wrist locked somewhere.
If you wrist lock me, I'd rather die. If you wrist lock me, I'm committing seppuku on live.
Here's the thing: like, I feel comfortable with striking because you're first of all, you're much heavier than me. Plus, you're better at jiu-jitsu. I'm guessing because you've actually gotten to a purple belt, while I'm a no-gi bastard, no belt technically. And I think I'm like I submit blue belts all the time, so I guess I'm a blue belt. But the thing is, I'm not even feeling confident with striking because you're a tall ass motherfucker. Like, but like my average high kick goes up to your nipple, I'd say. So probably don't stand a chance there.
So what's the weight, right? So when I fought a middleweight, so I was like 84 kilo. At the moment, I'm about 105 kilo. I'd like to say it's all muscle. It's not. I've got a belly. I've got a Misner belly going on at the moment. That that's another video I might do. I want, because I go to the gym a lot, but I was thinking of doing a challenge where I photograph myself like in shorts so you can see my body type. And I want to, like, I'll quit the gym for like a couple of months and only do Tai Chi training and with the help of diet, because you need a diet. You can't lose weight without a diet. But I want to show the difference that just doing Tai Chi and, like individual training, like solo training, can transform your body. And that it's not mystical, it's not magical. It is that you are training your muscles. So that is something that I want to do. I'm, you know what? Monday, I'm going to start Monday. I am going to take some footage of me. I'm going to barrel. My stomach is disgusting at the moment, and I am going to do, I think, 3 months. It's got to be 3 months, isn't it? A 3-month challenge to get myself in shape using only Tai Chi and diet. It's got to be a diet, yeah.
Pretty cool. Regarding the weight, I'm obviously a super heavyweight, as you can see. It looks giant. I weigh about 300 tons. So no, I'm a welterweight. I'm like 78-ish kilos. There's only one way to find out. Yep.
Fight.
Hopefully, maybe this summer.
Fingers crossed. If I, sort out my finances a bit, we can hopefully do something here. But I want to push the channel. I think I'm hoping. I'm trying to arrange stuff, and I really want to like interview some traditional martial artists, do a bit of sparring, and get it out there and see if I can really push my channel now that I'm nearly at 1,000 viewers. Subscribers, yeah. Every time you start catching up, I suddenly get a video that for some
Yeah,
odd
fuck
reason
you.
takes off. Like
I know.
that, yeah, the latest one that
Yeah, it's
because
growing.
I
It's
did
crazy.
what I did like that one I did with Andre. I thought that's a really good video. That's going to be
Yeah.
successful, and it hasn't at all. Even though it's a really good video, I post a video where I just show screenshots of some guy chickening out of meeting up with me, and all of a sudden I've got like
Boom.
2,500 views on it. It's insane.
I'm glad when we did the Kung Fu versus Karate skit. I'm glad that that one actually got quite a bit views because I was
Yeah,
worried that not gonna do it because that was like acting, directing. We gave a bit of effort into that, like outside of just editing, and it did
yeah, yeah.
perform good. But
That is
usually it
good
does.
when you put the effort. That's the thing. I remember my very first video. I that was about it was a 40-minute video, I think, or 20 minute. I can't remember what it was. I put in hours and hours of editing, and it's still one. It's shit to be honest. But the amount of effort I put into it and what I got out of it was I learned a lot very soon. What Tai Chi form or exercises would you use for lose weight? So for me, I mean, losing weight is just calorie deficit. So you exercise more than you burn more calories um, than you consume, and Tai Chi, like it's all good for losing weight. You, this is. I'm going to talk about my plan. I will do the inset of Qigong exercises every day straight away. I can't show it because I swore on an altar to Chan Sen Feng that I would keep these exercises secret. So I can't show any Qigong, unfortunately. What I can say is Qigong training is very similar to a lot of like plyometric sort of stuff that you see going on. Only you're not holding yourself on the floor or pulling yourself up, but it's a lot of body weight kind of stuff that all moving as well, the movement sort of based stuff. So a lot of Qigong training. I would do the short form. I would try to relearn the long form because I think the longer you're doing these movements and there's all sorts of other just exercise. Like we've got turning the tiger's head. I've got a video that shows turning the tiger's head, which is basically like amongst other applications, it's two hook punches.
Yeah.
It's yeah. We've got things like bow down, look up, which is a double leg takedown is the main like
Remember
application to that.
Nick's play on the word the repulsive monkey
Yeah,
for
repulsive monkey. Yeah,
that's 10 out of 10 joke.
yeah. You got the broadsword form. Like I used it when I was a kid, was like a teenager. I used to perform the broadsword form 3 times each side. I do it right-handed and left-handed because you don't want a big like right bicep and no left bicep there. And
Sucks.
so I would do it 3 times in a row each side. So I'd go right, left, right, left, right, left, and that is your cardio for the day. If you do that in one go, you are blowing at the end of it. So yeah, basically, I am gonna yeah rolls. That's a good one. Dan's conditioning. He used to do rolls. You get a mat and you'd roll over the right shoulder, straight away roll over the left
Oh,
shoulder, and you just keep going. And you would time it how many you could do in a minute, and then you try repeat it for the next minute and keep going. And when you used to go to his seminars, you just used and I was always proud of myself for this fact. The fighters class, you would just have to keep rolling around in a circle. Like and this was a big area. This is the Tokai in London, the judo place. And you just keep rolling round and round and round. And I basically there'd be me and like 3 other people that would complete the whole everyone people would just sit out, go away, sit down. I would keep going until the very end. Running thunder with weights is a fantastic exercise. I can't find my
ooh.
hand weights. I had because you've got these special weight. There's a guy at Dan's class. I can't remember his name now. He was pretty bloody decent, but I think he was a welder or he knew how to weld, and he used to get these copper pipes, and he put like lead in. I think it's lead inside, and then he gaffer tape it all up, and you would like for 20 minutes you'd do this running thunder punch, and you
That's
just keep, and then you'd go round this way, and then you go round that way, and it was hell on earth because Dan would come up and he'd put his hand up, and then you'd have to like raise your hands up, and yeah, it's a killer. But again, it's no secret. Like strength and conditioning makes fighters. I use small dumbbells. Yeah, I like the dumbbell thing, but because the dumbbells fit the hands, like when I tend to find I like catch my elbows and stuff. Where these hand weights
like this as well.
Yeah, these hand weights that I had, which were perfect. I just wish I could find them, and I can't find them anywhere. And I had them for years, and it was like as soon as lockdown came, I couldn't find them. So I have no idea what I've done with them. I had them in my drawer for years, just sitting there as like a memento, I guess. And as soon as I wanted to start doing 40 a minute, yeah, yeah, you had to do 40 a minute. And like I say, Dan had come up, put his hand there after you've been doing it for like 15 minutes, and your arms are starting to get down there, and your hand, and then you'd have to go, and your shoulders would feel like they're about to drop off. Yeah, I'd almost forgotten about that. Yes, hand weights would be good. I should get around to making some. If you make some, make me some as well, and I will buy them off you because I am not good at DIY. Definitely not good at welding. I should ask the engineers at work. That's a good idea. Yeah, I could get the stuff, and then I could ask the engineers because, yeah, maybe, yeah, that'd be a good thing. Just have to buy the things. But yeah, I am going to have to go because it's 8 o'clock, and I said I would be somewhere at this time. So thanks, Tomo. I've been, you've basically just listened to me ramble on. You'll have to invite me back on your channel, and I'll return the favor of just standing here.
You took over that stream. I was just painting and doing bullshit, bro. Yeah, but anyways, yeah, I don't have any closing remarks except Woo stuff sucks. And hopefully someone actually answers your challenge, and hopefully we can actually figure out something for this summer. That'd be awesome. So
yeah, I really hope. Yeah, keep looking, guys. Keep like, and subscribe to this guy. He needs to count because he's falling behind, and and yeah, like just keep watching. If you've got any suggestions for what you want to see me do, and head over to Tomo. Same for him, Martial Geeks, and yeah, we'll catch you soon. All right, thanks for watching.
Take care.
See you later.
Ciao, guys.